This week we'll be going over all of the achievements in Outlast. There are 14 achievements in the game, including the ones added with the Whistleblower DLC. The average completion time for the game is about 38 hours, but if you use my guide to grind it out, you should be able to get it done a lot quicker. For me personally, it ended up taking about 17 hours to get through it. And now, let's get into it. First, we'll go through the story achievements that you'll get just for playing the game through. These aren't really missable if you play the game, so you won't have to think about it too hard to get them. First up, we'll have Illuminated for restoring power to the administrative block. You'll get this at the end of the first chapter when you get all of the switches flipped to get power back up to the admin block. After that, you can go back to the security room to move on. Then we can get Flushed for draining the sewers. After the prison block, you'll move down into the sewers, and in order to go further, you have to drain it. Once you get both valves turned and get down the ladder, you'll get the achievement. Up next is Soaked for activating the sprinklers in the male ward. Near the end of the male ward chapter, you'll come up to the burning cafeteria. You'll then have to go over to the sprinkler area and once again turn a couple of valves to get them turned back on. Once that's done, you can get the achievement. Emancipated is for collecting the key in the female ward. Once you get done running around finding fuses to fix the laundry chute, you can finally get this key. Once you pick it up, you can go unlock the door that goes up the stairs, and you'll get this one. And then we have Punished for finishing the base game. We'll then move on to the Whistleblower DLC and go through those story achievements. The first one we'll get there is Gas Leaker for turning off the gas. This will be unlocked after you get through a few areas with the electric saw guy. You'll turn off the gas so that you can go outside, and that is when the achievement will unlock. Then we have Shocker for turning off the electricity. At the electric fence part, you'll have to go down underneath to turn the power off. Then, after this guy decides to play a little prank on you, you'll have to go turn it off again. At that point, you can proceed through and you'll get the achievement. For the last story-related achievement, we have Whistleblower for finishing the Whistleblower DLC. Just get to the end of the game and this one will pop. Now we can move on to all of the collectible-related achievements. There is Educated for collecting 15 documents and completing 15 recordings, Archivist for collecting all documents, Legacy for completing all recordings, and Pulitzer for collecting all documents and completing all recordings. We'll go through chapter by chapter for the base game, pointing out all of the collectibles, and then we'll go through all of them in the DLC chapters. There are two types that we'll be collecting, the blue document folders that are hidden throughout the game, and the notes that you get for recording specific events with your camera. Now remember, for these achievements, you have to pick up all of these collectibles during your playthrough. If you have to reload to a point before you picked up a collectible, make sure you get it again before proceeding further. Document 1 will be automatically picked up in your car at the beginning. For Note 1, as you enter through the front gates, you're going to want to point the camera at the building. You'll be able to tell that your note counted by the icon that flashes in the bottom right. Document 2 you'll get after climbing the window and squeezing through the gap in the corridor. You'll look on the desk in the second office to the left. For Note 2, you'll be in a very dark area where you'll need to film the cop that's stuck on a spike. Document 3 will be on the security desk after you fall down. For Document 4, you're going to go through the dark computer area into a storage room, and you'll look on a desk in the corner to your right. Then a little bit further up, you're going to have Note 3. Just film the men that are watching static on the screen. For Note 4, you'll go into the bathroom that's next to the security room. In the middle of the stall, there will be a witness sign that you'll need to film. Document 5 is going to be past the security room on the desk at the far side of the room. For Note 5, you can get that right after the power gets shut off after you're in the security room. Once Chris Walker comes in, just film him while you're hiding in a locker. For Document 6, as soon as you squeeze through that gap to go down to the basement, turn to the right and you'll see it on the desk. Then moving on to the prison, we have Note 6. In your padded cell at the very beginning, you just film the writings that are on the wall. Then you can get Note 7 as you're navigating the prison. Once you jump up on the second part of this dark area, just film the inmate that's in a straitjacket. Document 7 is going to be to the left of this guy that is looking at the blood writing on the wall. Document 8 you'll be able to get after the area where you jump out the window to get past the twins. It'll be in the security room on the desk to your right. Then as you're going down the dark corridor to go collect the keycard for the showers, look down to the left to film Chris Walker ripping someone apart. For document 9, after you exit the showers, you're going to go to the right, then take a left to enter a room with a torture chair in the middle. Check the desk on your right for this document. Document 10 you'll be able to find on your way to the alternate path to the showers. After you get up on the second floor, you can look into the cell that's on your left for this one. Then you can get note 9 after you drop through the hole in the floor. You'll just head upstairs into this room and film the wall writer writing. Then we can move on to the sewers. For document 11, instead of going through the squeeze gap on your right, you're going to go to the left and go around here to the broken ladder. Right next to it is this document. For note 10, after you get past the drain the sewers part, you'll end up going into this room and need to film this guy. For this guy, it takes a little bit for it to pop up, so just keep filming him until you see the icon pop up in the bottom right corner. In this very dark area, instead of dropping down and going off to the left to the light, you're going to keep going straight ahead up here, and over to your right you're going to see the light from a door. Go in there and you can find this document on the ground. For note 11, instead of going up the stairs to the mail ward, you're going to go straight ahead and look through this door on your left to film the dead bodies. For note 12, you're going to push aside this big metal thing and crawl through the vent into the room with an inmate restrained in a chair. Exit that room and go to the left to enter another dark room and film the writing that's on the wall for this note. Then for document 13, we're going to go into this hospital area and go all the way down at the end of the room and look at the right. Then after you get caught by Traeger and you escape, you're going to come over to this guy and hide under a bed. Just sit here and wait with your camera out. Once Traeger comes out, you need to film him while he kills the guy in the bed for this note. Then while you're running from Traeger and looking for a key, after you drop out of the second vent, you're going to have a bathroom straight ahead. Open the closed doll store and you can get document 14. And then note 14 you'll be able to get after Traeger is dead. Once he's dead and hanging there, just film him for a second. And then document 15 will be right after you speak to Father Martin. Go down this dark hallway to your left and take the first right. Through the door at the end you'll find a locker room and the document is at the far side near a bench. Then for note 15, you're going to go into the burning cafeteria and use your camera to film the inmate that sat on a table. It'll take a second for this one to register. At this point, you should get educated as long as you picked up every one of the notes and documents as I've shown. For document 16, we'll go out of the cafeteria, but before we squeeze through the gap ahead, we'll go down the hallway to our right, and in the room at the far end, the document will be sitting on a desk in the corner by the window. Now after we go through the process of getting the sprinklers back on, we can go through the cafeteria and proceed through the kitchen. Once you go through this doorway, there's going to be a bowl of fingers sitting on the counter. Film this for note 16. Then we can move on to the courtyard. Document 17 is going to be right before you go outside. Just go into the office area to your right and look at the desk. Document 18 is going to be straight ahead and a little bit to the left. There's some stairs that you can go up. And right past those stairs, you'll see this document on the ground. Then for note 17, after you get the key and unlock the door, you'll need to go down the hallway with your camera already up so that you can film the ghost that appears. Then we can get note 18 at the end of this chapter. After we escape Chris Walker a few times, you'll walk out here to a fountain of blood. Just film that and you'll get this one to register. Then we can move on to the female ward. For note 19, shortly after you're navigating your way through, you'll hop through a window and see this noisy machine right here. Just film it for this one. And then for document 19, after you leave that same area through a lit room, you're going to turn right once you reach the hallway and go all the way down to the end to find this document under the broken stairs. For note 20, we'll need to go up to the elevator area, and if you look down inside of the elevator, just film the guy that's sitting there. Then for document 20, we'll head down the stairs to the right of the elevator and look on the desk on the far side of the dark room. Then decently further ahead, we can get document 21 after we fall through the floor and climb back up. We'll go through the door next to the room and then look on the bed in the far corner by the window. Then for note 21, once we leave that room and see the Walrider, we can follow it down the corridor. And then for note 21, once we leave that room and see the Walrider, we just follow it down the hallway and into a candlelit room where we can film the bloody writing on the wall. Then we'll move on to the chapter Return to Admin Block. Once we go into a hallway and get chased by Chris Walker, we're going to go off to the left and go into an air vent. Instead of going straight ahead, we're going to go off to the right and drop into this room to grab document 22. Then for document 23, we'll go back into the vent and push the body out of the way. We'll drop down, go into a library on our left, and grab it from the desk. A little bit further ahead, we'll go into the theater area. For note 22, once the film starts playing, you're going to aim your camera at it and record. It takes a while for this one to pop up, so just keep on sitting there, recording it. Then for document 24, while we're going through the theater area, you're going to come down this dark hallway. This document is on the top of some boxes in the lit room at the very end. And then we can get note 23 a lot later on in this chapter. You'll walk into this room with an inmate praying in front of a static TV. Just film them for this note. For document 25, we can get that after we squeeze into the hallway with all of the praying people. You'll go to room B329 and grab it from the desk inside. Then we can get note 24 at the very end of this chapter once we go into the church and watch Father Martin burn. Just film him as he burns, and you'll get this one. Then we can move on to the underground lab. For note 25, you'll need to film the front desk as you enter the underground lab. Then we can grab document 26 from behind the front desk. For document 27, we'll be going through the tunnel, and after going into another hallway, you'll go into the second lab on your left to grab this one. Then for note 26, further down there's going to be another hallway with a window on the left with some trucks, and a room on your right with this whiteboard. Film the writing on the whiteboard for this note. Then as you proceed further, you'll get note 27 automatically once you get to the cutscene of Chris Walker dying to the Walrider. Then we can get document 28 after we run from the Walrider again. You'll go through the decontamination room and enter the next room and look on the desk on your right. Then once we get into the actual lab with the giant sphere, you'll need to film it for note 28. Then we can get document 29 from on the desk underneath the giant sphere. Right next to that document, we can get note 29 for pointing the camera at the guy inside of this glass pod. Then we'll go off to the right into life support, and we can get note 30 for filming these giant life support fluid reservoirs. Once you go upstairs in this area, you can go into the control room to get document 30. Then after running from the Walrider again and going into the sub-lab generator, you'll have to go all the way up the stairs, through the decontamination room, and we can grab document 31 on the desk to your left. Then after some cutscenes, we can get note 31 for pointing the camera at the bloody pod. At this point, you should get Pulitzer. Now moving on to the Whistleblower collectibles. After our little intro sequence, we can get note 1 automatically after we pick up the camcorder. Then for note 2, we can get right after we get into our first vent. Just look down and record these 2 guards. Note 3 we can get a little bit later on. Once we hit a button to let an inmate in to kill a scientist, just film him killing him for this one. Then for document 1, once these scientists run by, you're going to follow them and go off to the right. You'll find this document on the ground. A little bit further on, we can get note 4 for filming this guy microwaving his food. And then document 2 will be inside of a surgery room in between 2 computers sitting on a medical cart. This will be after you collect a key from a dead body. And then for document 3, we can grab that after we bust through the brick wall to escape the fire. We'll go to the right and enter the open doorway. Go behind the altar to find this one. For note 5, once we get back into the halls of the hospital, we'll keep going until we reach a spinning red light in the hallway. We'll go to the left through an open door and then another left to find some bathroom stalls. Open this one up and record what's going on for this note. For document 4, once you get into these airlock halls, you're going to go through the rip and then wrap back around to the right, and this document will be sitting on this table. And then for document 5, it's going to be in this little lab area, in a clean looking room with 2 machines straight ahead and desks to the right. The document is sitting on this corner desk. And then once we move on and get outside, we can get note 6 by going down the stairs and going to the right, then go through and look directly up at the building to our right and film the window. Then for note 7, as we go further through this chapter, We'll go down this left path first, and at some point you'll be able to look through some grates to see a man playing basketball. Record him for a little bit to get this note. Then close to the end of the chapter, we can get document 6 after we go up some ladders. We'll circle this first booth and climb over some stuff to get the document that's inside. Then once we get into the prison area, we can get note 8 after we escape Chris Walker, and come down here to find this guy writing in blood on the wall. Just record him for this note. Then we can get document 7 after we drop through the hole in the floor, and the document will be sitting on the desk to the right. Then moving on to the drying ground chapter. Once we jump out of the window and get onto the ground, we can turn around and jump through another window into this room for document 8 sitting on the ground to our left. Then for document 9, once we get over to the electric fence area, you'll go into the dark structure that's ahead of the steps. There's a set of closed doors near the back, and a document is sitting there on the ground. Then for note number 9, once you shut off the electricity the first time and go back outside, you're gonna want to record the power grid that's above it. Once the guy turns the power back on, this will register. And then note 10 will be near the end of this chapter as we crawl through a hole. Just make sure you have your camera out and you're filming, because when a body comes down, that is gonna register this note. Then we can move on to the vocational block chapter. As you're making your way through the attic, there's gonna be a hanging corpse in your way. Film it for note 11. Then for document number 10, a little bit further through, there's another one of these red tool carts that we have to push. Over to the left of it, you'll find this document. Then once we get to our husband's area, we can get note 12 by filming one of his creations on our right. Then we can get note 13 after a very long torture session by recording the saw blade that almost cut us. And then once we finally escape him by jumping out of the window, we can get document 11 by picking up this document that's on the ground outside. And then for note 14, we can get that after we crawl through a vent and drop down into a gym. Just record the ceiling and that'll get this one. Then after our final cutscene with our husband, we can get note 15 for filming his body hanging from the ceiling. Then moving on to the last chapter, the exit, we can get note 16 for looking through the window and recording the burning church. Then a little bit further on, we can get note 17 for recording Traeger's dead body with the soldiers standing around him. And then a little bit ahead through this hallway, where there's going to be an office to your left. Go inside of there and grab document 12 from on this desk. For document 13, we're going to enter the room with a TV on the wall. Go through the door to leave and enter the open doorway to the right ahead. In this dark room, there's a table with this document. At this point, you should get Archivist, and then for note 18, as we go to the exit door in the lobby, we'll need to record this wounded guy in the doorway. And at this point, you should get Legacy. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to let me know down in the comments what you thought about the game, hit the like button, subscribe for more achievement guides, and if you want to support the channel even further, hit the join button to become a member. Now for the last 2 achievements, we have Lunatic for finishing the game in insane mode. This one was pretty tough, but I did make a separate video showing this in detail. Be sure to check that one out once you're ready. The very last one is Bowelwhistler for finishing the DLC in insane mode. This one isn't nearly as bad as the Lunatic achievement, but still has some tough parts. I of course also made a video going over that one in depth, so you can check that out to make it easier for you as well. And with that, we now have 100% of the achievements in Outlast. Be sure to also check out some of my other guides to keep completing more games.